Hey guys, what's up? 8 Brian here, and I am back yet again for my flea market and thrift store finds for the month of April. And my goodness, every month I seem to outdo myself. So let's dive right in. I'll show you everything that I picked up for this month, and hopefully I can fit it all into one video. It is probably double what I've usually found, so this is going to be a long one, guys. But anyway, let's get to it, and here's my pickups for April. Alright, so the smallest category this month, we'll start off with, will ironically be video games. So we'll just get that out of the way. Of course, you guys know me, I picked up some Atari stuff. Picked up a rare shooting gallery, or shoot-in gallery cartridge for the 2600. I think I got that for $8, I believe. Yeah, I think about $8 I paid for that. Very rare. Sorcerer for the 2600, also another rare game. Paid $2 for that. And Private Eye for the 2600, also another rare game. I paid, I think, $15 for that. That one wasn't, well, it wasn't really expensive, but not necessarily, a bargain or anything. Please bear with me, guys. I've been very sick over the past couple of weeks. That's why some of my videos have been slow to come out. So, if I'm sneezing or coughing a little bit through this, just bear with me. Surprised to have the strength to do this. So, try to keep this video moving along as well as I possibly can. So again, moving along, I also found for the Game Boy, this is a really rare title here. I found Bonk's Adventure for the Game Boy. The label's a little messed up, but for $12, loose, I mean, if the label was nicer condition, it would probably go for $25 to $50, but I could probably get about $25 for it if I wanted to sell it still, because it's just that uncommon of a title, even though it's not the NES Bonk's Adventure. Still, it's really uncommon to find Bonk's Adventure for the Game Boy as well, so really cool that I picked that up. Also, video game-wise, let's see. Excuse me. I picked up an extremely, extremely rare, and I know I say that with everything, but can't help it. I just find good stuff. I picked up a Sega Pocket Arcade, and these were a line of toys made by Tiger Electronics. And this is from the Sega Genesis game called Bug. And I doubt you'll be able to see anything. I'll turn it on here. But yeah, it's your typical Tiger game where you're jumping and shooting things. But yeah, these are very, very rare. And really surprised to have found that. That goes for about $50 just loose by itself on eBay. And also picked this up too, so you can see it better. This is called Hold Up, and this is a Tandy handheld. When you could go into a Radio Shack and still find Tandy-related products that weren't computers. And I paid $5 for this, and that is just awesome. I played this, a very fun little Game & Watch type game. And yeah, obviously worth a hell of a lot more than $5, but thank you to my friend Rob for letting this go to me for a good price, because he knows how much I like that type of stuff. So that's very awesome to add to my collection. Even has the little manual with it as well. And then also I picked this up at Columbus a couple of weeks ago. This is a Dungeons & Dragons computer fantasy handheld game, electronic game. I picked that up for $5. Another really rare piece to see. Very cool. And this I picked up, I think I paid $2 for this. This is a Radio Shack pinball with shaky action game, so it vibrates as you're playing the pinball. And I'm not sure, I might have had one of these when I was a kid. I really don't remember. This is from like the I think 93 or 94. So I would have been a teenager when I had this. But still really fun. The graphics are pretty cool. And one of the flippers only lights up when you hit the button for some odd reason. But other than that, it works really, really fine. And I just like the graphics on it. So, as far as like the outside of the box, like it lights up too. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. Let's see if it'll do anything. I don't know. You can see with the vibrations there. Like it lights up and you can hear the little vibrations. So it's a really cool little pocket handheld. And I thought that was neat. This also I picked up, but I got this from eBay. And I think I paid, what did I pay, like $5 for this? $7? I think under 10 bucks. And this is another Radio Shack little handheld. But I totally forgot I had this when I was like a real little kid and I was like 10 years old. And I was like, oh my god, I totally remember this cute little game. And you're a dinosaur. I don't think you'll be able to see it. There's a pterodactyl dropping. Looks like her babies that are hatching into little baby pterodactyls. And you have to run around kind of like crackpots and like try to eat all the pterodactyls, which is kind of horrible actually. But it's a really fun little game, and it's really cute. I don't know if it'll be able to play the music or not. No, I don't think I have the, I don't have the sound enabled, but still very cool. A lot of handhelds this month, more than usual. I also picked up this. I think I paid $3 or $4 at a thrift store for this. Yeah, it was like $1.50. It was $4 and half off. And this is a GameCube. Yeah, the sticker's still on it, $4. But they do a half-price sale on Mondays. And it's a GameCube portable monitor that you like put on top of the GameCube, and then plug it in, and you can play it in the car or wherever you're at. And I just thought that was really neat, kind of unusual to see, and you know the price was right. And let's see, also video game wise, actually I have more video game stuff than I thought I did, but a lot of it's like, I guess it's kind of a mix between toys and video games. Like this here, this is the APF TV Fun Pong console. And these are pretty uncommon. I actually saw one a week later, complete in box for only 20 bucks. And if I'd have not passed on that and continued to walk around at Columbus, those sell for, give or, excuse me again guys, like I said, still getting over a cold. They are $400 to $500 in box. And I was like, oh, that'll still be here in 10 minutes when I come back around, and it wasn't, so I was pretty mad about that. But anyway, it's still a fun little Pong console. And I got that with a deal of other stuff for like, I think that was like $8 or something. And this is really cool I picked up. This is a Pong Sports 2 Sears Telegames console, complete in box. I picked up for $20. And it has all the really neat graphics on the back and everything. Very cool. I don't know if I showed this before. Sorry guys if I did. Sometimes I get my videos confused. But if I did, just, you know, I don't know, enjoy. But here's like some of the controllers and stuff. That's what it looks like. The little cool controllers. Let's see if I can get out the console here so you can get a better look at that. Ugh. So many wires. But this is what the console would have looked like, and you would have put the controllers in there, and it's very similar to the Atari Pong consoles. This has a really cool look to it, so I love that 70s look. Just really neat, and for 20 bucks, that's a great deal, especially being complete in the box. Like this is probably at least 50 bucks, you know, in box, which kind of surprises me, but then you also have to really realize something I've realized a lot is that there's not that many Atari collectors out there, so it does have a limited market. Like, only so many people are going to be looking for Atari stuff. And while we're still on the topic of Atari stuff, a few more things. Oof. So much stuff here, it's unbelievable. I found a Atari XM301 modem for the Atari XE game system. And I think I paid $5 for that, or $2. Definitely not over $5. Pretty cool. That's very unusual to find. And then I also found the Atari XE light zapper, which this is really cool. Missing the sticker on the one side, but still really nice. And this was $10. So I'm hoping to find myself a used XE system. And just all I need is the controller and the system, and I've got a complete system for pretty cheap, so that'd be awesome. But I just love the look of the gun and everything. And this actually works with the Atari 800XL. I was surprised that such an early model Atari computer could support light zapper games. And I also picked up these really, I have two of them, but I just brought out the one to show. This is a, well, basically that's that same serial port for like all the Atari and Genesis, you know, computers of the time, Joystick. And it's made by Archer. And what's neat about this is there's a switch on the back where you can switch it to either a four-way control, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not, where you can only move up, down, left, and right, or you can flip it to an 8-way, and then it has full analog, you know, 8 different direction control. So this is really good for games like Ms. Pac-Man and stuff like that, because with the 8-way controller, like with the CR60 original joystick that came with the 2600, you can accidentally go in a diagonal direction, accidentally go up. And for me, who's someone who likes to attack high scores and stuff like that, I want to know that when I'm going left or I'm going right, I'm not going to go in any other direction than those 4 directions. So that's really, really helpful. That's actually a very helpful joystick for someone like me who's a really hardcore, old school gamer like that. And let's see. I think that should pretty much do it for video games, aside for 2 things. I found a couple of Intex games. This is a, let's see, this is Intex Basketball, one of the light-up diode games. And I think I paid about $2 for that. And then this I also found. This is called Digital Derby Auto Raceway, and this is from Tomy Electronics. I actually had this when I was a kid, and it wouldn't have surprised me if this one was mine, because the steering wheel was broken, and I remember when I was a kid, the steering wheel was broken, and I haven't seen one of these in like 30 years. It still works. Not great, but it works. I was able to repair it to get it to work, and it's just, you know, pretty awesome. I had to order another steering wheel online off of eBay, and that was a little pricey, but it was worth it to me to have this in the condition that I wanted. So overall, this was about $15. It was like 10 or 13 bucks for the steering wheel, and then it was like $3 or $4 for the, you know, little handheld unit I had to repair and resolder some wires and stuff like that. But very, very worth it to rehab this back in my collection. Now just on to toys and miscellaneous. Miscellaneous, I found some neat pencils. This is a Oriole pencil with a little witch pencil topper on the top. From like this early 70s or something, I guess. Looks pretty old. And then I found this yellow pencil with a little monkey on the top, which I think is pretty cool. I also found this neat, appears to be either 80s or 70s Chrysler keychain, which just is really old and I think is really neat. So that's cool. I thought that was pretty neat. I also found this Cornflakes mini camera, which is almost like one that I had when I was a kid. Same type of design. This was a mail away. I remember that my dad mailed away for me, and it came in a little tube, but mine was a little different, but basically the same. And you flip it up like that, and you'd attach the film in the back there, and you could hook it up to a keychain, and it would really take pictures. And I remember the first time I used it, we went on a field trip to Longwood Gardens, and mine was like, there was either a later or earlier model of this that looked a little different, but still the same thing. I mean, it was by Cornflakes, camera, and this just reminded me of a toy that I otherwise completely forgotten about, and that was like $3 for that. So that was neat to find. That's always stuff that I like. I like finding stuff that, like, I had completely forgotten about, like a memory just recessed, like way, way, way back in my brain, like tucked away. That that immediately takes me back to a time and a place. Like, oh, cool, there's a toy I got from my dad from a box of cereal that I went on a school trip to Longwood Gardens of. Like, I wouldn't have remembered any of those things if I hadn't at least seen a camera that I thought was the same one, but was a similar one from that time period when I was a kid. And that's half the fun of why I love going out to flea markets and thrift stores so much. Anyway, moving along, I also found this really cool little tiger bread button, which I never heard of before, but that's really cute. With the goofy tiger on the front, I thought that was neat. I picked up this weird little 60s Fred Flintstone hollow plastic toy, which I thought was cool. Again, I think he was like $1. And I picked up this really neat Space Ray water pistol, which is almost identical to another type that me and my friends played with as kids, where they have like this kind of blimp looking design. And that was like $2, so very cool to find that. I also picked this up too. I won't, excuse me guys, I won't transform him, but this is a Diaclone Transformer. I don't remember his name, but he transforms from binoculars into a robot, and is pretty damn rare. This goes for about $50 online, and I paid $3 for him. He's missing the one plate in the back, but other than that, he's complete. And I mean, missing things or not, where are you going to see one of these? Like, there's one on all of eBay, so that's really cool to find anything Diaclone. So that was awesome, I think. I also found this really neat ET wallet. And it was kind of creepy, actually, because there was like pictures and stuff saying like Jesus loves you inside of a wallet that like somebody owned before. So I almost didn't keep it because like I was afraid it would be haunted or something. It just had a creepy vibe to it, but I like ET, so that's cool. Picked up a lot of Star Wars stuff this month too. Found a bunch of really cool Star Wars cards. I used to have a whole album of these when I was a teenager, but then they got destroyed because a pipe burst in my closet in my house, in my bedroom. And I even made a custom binder where it had a picture of Yoda and his hut on the front of it. And I had the whole set from the original Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, which I kid you not, that whole set complete would probably sell for around $800 now if I'd have held on to it. Like the originals from the 70s and early 80s. And that kills me that I lost them. I love those freaking cards. I also found, well, actually I didn't find this. My good friend Mike from the Pine Barrens Retro Group, you can look that up on Facebook if you're not familiar with that, gave this to me. And this is a project I'm currently working on. So this, gave that away. This is a vintage, I believe this would have been 1980 Kenner YWings. I don't think the Y-Wing was introduced until Empire Strikes Back, possibly Return of the Jedi. And it's missing a lot of stuff, but I mean, it was free, so I'm not going to complain. And I got the warp drive functioning, so it still works. And this is a little project that I'm working on. Really awesome, because I love all these vintage Star Wars vehicles. And speaking of them, I also found a Snowspeeder. This was part of that deal that I got with the other stuff. And I was able to replace the two front cannons, just needs a canopy. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but they light up. Probably knocked it so bright in here. You might be able to see it from the side. They glow and they light up. I don't think the engine makes any noise or not, but very cool. This is almost complete, just missing a few things, but it still looks pretty good, I think. And in the same bundle, I also picked up a T16 Skyhopper, which I thought was more vintage. This is from the 90s, but it still looks pretty cool. This is like from 97, I think, or 99. It's still a nice looking ship. And then this was part of the Jawa Sandcrawler Droid playset. This is the escape pod from the ship in the beginning of A New Hope. This is from like 77 or 78. That's a cool little vehicle to have with the collection. And then I think for $10 I picked up one of the larger and original 78 Kenner Star Wars dolls that they had. This is the Luke one. And he's missing pretty much everything, but I paid $10 for him. He needs his boots, his lightsaber, his belt, and everything, but it's still pretty cool to find. I also picked up for $2, I picked up one of the giant Ninja Turtles. And of course, this is my very favorite Ninja Turtle, Michelangelo. He was only $2. And he's missing his belt, but other than that, he's in really, really good condition. And it's Michelangelo, so of course I'm going to pick up anything relating to Michelangelo, because that's just me. I also picked up some really neat stuff. This next whole lot for like $4. These are old, and I mean old, space toys from like the 1950s and 1960s. This one's kind of like a mummy type astronaut, where it looks like his front face mask has broken and he's gasping for air as he's dying, which I know is kind of graphic, but really cool. You can imagine that in like an old vintage space movie. He's like, oh, I need air. Very cool looking. Another little plastic astronaut man. Don't know what he's from, but I think he's dated like 65 or something. They're all very, very old. This is my absolute favorite. This thing is freaking amazing. This little spaceman, this is easily from like 1950, possibly the 1940s. And the material, you can hear, it's not even like plastic. He's almost like this plastic metal. And it's this crazy, like 1920s, 1930s looking spaceman. And that is just amazing. That is pure art. Like he has the jetpack on the back. And like the face. It's just incredible to me. Like I absolutely love stuff from that era. I also found some really old cereal premiums from the same lot. These are from 1969. These were Lucky Charms cereal premiums with Bullwinkle from Rocky and Bullwinkle, Bullwinkle the Moose. These were the first premiums that ever came in there. And the very first Lucky Charms Lucky Eraser from 1969. That is, even in that condition, that's like a $20 eraser. That's extremely rare. And then also, I believe this is Pop from Rice Krispies. This is a, what is this, 1969, 1970 little Rice Krispies ring that would have came free inside of a box of Rice Krispies. That's like a $50 ring. for like, I paid 50 cents for that. Also moving along, I found this too. I paid, what, I think $2 for this. This is another old Texas Instruments calculator that I have, adding to my calculator collection. And it needed a little bit of work and rewiring, but I got it working, and I just love the design and the look of it. I love anything to do with old computing or computers, so I just thought that was really cool. Let's see, I also picked this up, and again, I don't know if I showed him or not, but this is Dragon Blast Skeletor. I got from the South Jersey annual Geek Fest. And I paid 55 bucks for him, which is a hell of a lot of money, but online complete, he goes for about 80 to 90. And this was one of my very favorite toys when I was a kid, so I'm very glad to have that back, and I thought that was a reasonable price. You can see he has a dragon on the back of him, where you push down on his head and he'd squirt water out. And a little green padlock with a chain and the cuff that goes to his arm. And he's just a very badass looking Skeletor, and I'm very glad to add that to my collection yet again. Even though that was a little pricey, I usually do not spend anywhere near that much on a single toy. Another toy that I'm very glad to have picked up, this was, I think he was 10 or 15, I can't remember. Also this was at the Big Kid Toy Show event, and this is Swoop, one of the Dinobots. I almost have a full Dinobots collection, and his beak was completely broken, but I was able to re-glue that and fuse that, so that way now, you know, it opens and closes, and he transforms perfectly. So I never like discarding a quote-unquote broken toy. I feel bad for them. I always try to repair them and, you know, bring them back to life. Like, some kid once had fun with that toy too. Why should it just go in the trash? And plus, you can get it for cheaper, you know, just fix it yourself. So that's an added bonus. Also found this, a friend of mine through the Pine Barrens group, Jason Polo, gave this to me for $2, which is an unbelievable steal. And Jason, I've been playing the crap out of this for the past 2 to 3 weeks. And I had this when I was a kid, not this one, but one like it. And this is the Tomy Atomic Arcade Pinball Machine. And let's see if I can kind of show you guys like how it works. Well, I mean, you know how it works, but you can see what it does. Awesome graphics. And then you just let a pinball go here. And like the bumpers and stuff like actually move, and it keeps score. And I remember playing with this so much when I was a little kid, and like the noise actually kind of drove my parents crazy, to where, you know, they'd always tell me to take it in another room and play it. But I got so many hours of enjoyment out of playing that game. And last but not least, the last two things will be my finds of the month. Number one is the biggest, but not necessarily the best. It almost is. Very, very close. This is the Domino Rally glow-in-the-dark haunted domino set. And I had this when I was about, I think 13. I got it for Christmas. And I remember setting this up and playing with this, and it is just so much fun. There's a little skeleton that pops out on the gallows, there's a guillotine, there's a shack that spits out a coffin into a mine cart, and a skull, and a spider, and the whole thing glows in the dark. And when you're 13 years old, I mean, come on, this thing's just awesome. And again, I got it at the toy show. I did pay $40 for this, which was a crap ton, but it is 100% complete. And this is one of the toys that I have looked forever to find at a reasonable price. And very, very glad to have this back in my collection. So much fun. One day I'm going to set this up and just give it a playthrough one more time for old time's sake. And just so awesome to see this again. And it's always cool when you see stuff like that, especially in my home state of South Jersey, because it just makes me wonder. It's like, it's like, was that the one from my house? You know, like you think about it. And so that's kind of neat. That's kind of the fun too. It's like, maybe it was. But this, as my find of the month, I found a Columbus, and there is absolutely no doubt on earth that this came from my house. This is a old little sailing boat, which seems very ridiculous in comparison to Star Wars and He-Man and everything else that I've showed that, that doesn't fit. But this was one of my earliest toys when I was like 8 or 7 years old, and I remember my dad got this for me. And it had a little black stand that it would sit in, and it sat on top of my dresser. And I know this is mine. There's barely 2 of these on the internet. They're custom toys. They're not something many people would have bought their children. And this is the Seifert Segelboot, made in Germany, which means, what does it mean? It means, I think, like the speedy sailboat or fast sailboat. That's the American, rough, murdered translation of that. But I know this is mine because around the mast, the string is still tucked in under the canopy as it was when I was a little kid, but I remember that sitting on my stand. I remember the red little part of the mast was folded in like that, and the rear was missing the string. The 2 little nails on top were rusted just like they are now, and this is my sailboat, and I got this for $5. And it's really not that important, I guess, but it was really weird to see this again. It's like, I just know it's mine. No one else is going to have something with those exact details and those exact things missing with a toy that limited in production that barely anyone bought these for their kids. And to me, that's just amazing that time and time again, I keep finding stuff that came from, my youth, like my literal youth and my childhood. And it's like, hey, I grew up in South Jersey, and it's just a real reminder of like, man, I'm 40. Like, that's what happens. Like, I left all this stuff in my past years ago, and there you go. That's what happens. Like, people are making a profit off of it and selling it. And it's cool that when you go out to flea markets all the time, that once in a while you find something like that. And that's really awesome. So that's really special to me, and that's definitely, my find of the month for this month. That's really pretty incredible that I was able to find that, and something I'd completely forgotten about that I had ever even owned, just to spark up that memory again. So hey, not to get all, emotional and everything, guys, but I hope you enjoyed taking a look at my flea market pickups for April. And again, like I always say, definitely make sure to, show me what you guys are picking up out there at the flea markets and thrift stores, and post pictures on my Twitter. Not just saying it, I absolutely do want to see what you guys pick up. I know you guys in the Pine Barrens group are awesome for that, but for, some of you guys that follow me on Twitter or just know me through YouTube, I absolutely want to see like what cool or important stuff like you found. Have you ever found one of your old toys out somewhere that like, oh hey, like my mom threw this out 10 years ago and there it is. Like, a good friend of mine, Mel, I remember at a Goodwill, he found one of his video games, that he wrote his name on the back of it. So, it's not as crazy as it seems. It can happen, and it's cool. So if you got any stories like that, definitely share them with me. I'd love to hear all about them. But anyway, that's going to do it for this month, guys. Hope you enjoyed taking a look, and happy hunting out there. Until next time.
Hey guys, if you liked the video that you just watched, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And if you do the Facebook or Twitter thing, follow me at #KingOfRetro. See you next time.